to slide down to pick up those players, which they're able to do. Now they just bring the end off the edge. He's going to be unblocked. The back is free releasing, so they're only rushing 4 guys. They take those 2 interior players, they drop them out so that they've got the full complement of coverage. This is a really good design play. They get in, Mahomes looks down the field. Just like we saw with Allen, everybody's covered. He's got a defender on him, a free blitzer, but Travis Kelce is going to read away. Mahomes doesn't get pulled down, and it's a completion, a 3rd down conversion. So these examples and these opportunities, they're pretty few and far between, but when you get them, you have to take advantage of them, and they've got to find some way to generate a negative play to slow down this offense.
All right, that was a great breakdown, and every week these are great. This was particularly impressive because Coach was able to find, from the 2 games last year, a really good Bills play on offense and an almost good Bills play on defense. Those might have been the only 2 because the Chiefs embarrassed them twice last year. And this is as big of a regular season game for Buffalo as they've had in years. They built their entire offseason around how can we prevent Kansas City from dog walking us the way they did last year. First matchup, Coach said it, but I will reiterate it, 46 runs, 245 yards, and allowed Mahomes to complete 80% of his passes. Second matchup, AFC Championship game, the Chiefs spot the Bills 9-0, and then go on an AAU basketball style 38-6 run in the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen has never played a good game against the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has never played a bad game against Josh Allen. We can show the numbers. They are jarring and startling, and this is what Buffalo is chasing. That's not close. That's not MVP-ish. That is one guy who was amazing, the other guy who was terrible. And for Buffalo, if you look at their schedule, it works for them and against them, Coach. And here's what I mean. If we can show the schedule. It works for them they have an incredibly soft schedule. They've had one up to this point, and after the Chiefs game, it resumes incredibly soft as well. Oh, look at that middle column. Dolphins, Jags, Jets, Colts. They are going to be able to rack up wins just like they racked up wins early in the year. But, Coach, if they can't hang with Kansas City, I'm asking you, no matter what they do against bad teams, what's their headspace going to be like headed into the postseason when they know the Super Bowl goes through the Chiefs? If they got whooped by him in one way in the regular season, whooped by him in another way in the postseason, and then if the Chiefs beat them this year when the Chiefs arguably are shaky, defense not playing well, 2-2, and they are playing the best football of any team in the league, if the Chiefs beat them again, is that a massive mental edge no matter what they do the rest of the regular season?
Well, we saw that Baltimore obviously wasn't shook by the Chiefs this season, and it was one of those situations where they hadn't been able to beat them as well, but they did, and each year is its own entity. One of the advantages that Buffalo has is playing them twice last year, and you do go back and you look at those games, and you say, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, here's what we need to emphasize, and that knowledge, those reps that you can build off of, I'm really interested to see what they do with it. I obviously respect Brian Daboll and appreciate how smart he is. I think that his working knowledge of the Chiefs from last season should translate really well into this year. And the Chiefs, look, they're struggling in their own right, and they've got to establish that they're the dominant team that you keep claiming they are.
Coach, you mentioned Josh Allen's got to be able to match Pat Mahomes with some big plays. Allen's had one good game this year, or great game against Washington. Other than that, he's been solid. They haven't needed him to be great. What are you seeing from him? His accuracy is not what it was a year ago. We know there's a big question mark about him. How confident are you in him to be able to play at the level he did last year and match Mahomes?
I'm confident in the sense that he's shown consistent growth year in and year out, and he's had the same offensive situation throughout that. And what happens, especially early in the season, and especially with high expectations, is you press, and pressing can put you in a negative situation as opposed to a positive situation. I'm sure Brian Daboll's talking to him about you don't need to do anything besides what you consistently have done, which is perform at a high level, especially over the last couple of years. So I think that he's going to respond well in this game. I think that he's going to make plays that he hasn't been able to make in the past against Kansas City. But what I'm hoping that he doesn't do is try to force things and try to change the game that way and create some negative plays.
Okay, first, Coach, I want to apologize because I put a little too much Jameson in the old Irish coffee this morning so I'm a little bit silly. I got to make sure I understand what I'm hearing. Because it boils down to this for me. Is Josh Allen as good as Jalen Hurts? Would anyone take Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen? I wouldn't. And Jalen Hurts last week threw for, and I want to make sure this is right, and again, I'm drunk as a skunk, 387 yards against the Chiefs, and then he was also running the ball, so a total of 434 yards for Jalen Hurts. The Eagles never punted. So the idea that Josh Allen is worried about the Chiefs' defense, which has given up yards to everybody, seems bonkers to me. I just feel like Josh Allen's going to go in there and cook the Chiefs. I know we're trying to be nice and diplomatic, and Nick is on the show. He's got a new hairstyle, but so I think this game might be a blowout for Josh Allen.
You know, I didn't even notice Nick's new hairstyle. That must be an adjustment that he's made based off of Kansas City's poor start this season. Yeah, look, their defense has struggled, but in any of those situations, going into that game, you can't force it, and you can't be in a mindset where I'm gonna make a big play at all costs. When I say that he's got to match the plays that Patrick Mahomes makes, I mean that within a context of the rest of the game. Are there huge opportunities for him? Yeah, I think there is, and I think there's also opportunities based off of the working knowledge that they have from the 2 games last year against Kansas City.
Make another guarantee, Wilds. Do it. Make another guarantee.
He won't do it, not yet.
Do
It's
it.
too early.
Bills over Chiefs, just like Chargers over Chiefs. I'm 1-1.
Got to add great teams, 2 great quarterbacks, despite what Nick will tell you. Nick, Mahomes is good. Don't undersell him. Bills quarterback Josh Allen has yet to beat Patrick in 2 head-to-head matchups, but he knows the Chiefs are the gold standard in the AFC, and he said as much yesterday. With that, we welcome in former head coach, 3-time Super Bowl champ Eric Mangini to deliver his keys to the game. Coach, good morning to you. What is your game plan for the Bills to take down the Kings of the AFC in Kansas City?
Oh, I want to hear this.
Well, first thing, I'm a little disappointed, Wilds, that I wasn't invited to the Handsome Men's Club. I didn't get that invite. I was a little taken aback going into the segment. But let's talk about the game. And from the Bills' perspective, the first thing they need to do is they can't let Kansas City consistently run the ball. And that may sound like a strange thing, but when they played last year, it was about this time during the season, Kansas City ran the ball 46 times for, I think it was a 5.8 average, something along those lines. And what it did is it established that they would do that, and it sent a message to the league. And you hear Mahomes talking this week, and he's talking about the need to run the ball again. So that's going to be an issue in the game. And the second thing is from Josh Allen's standpoint, Josh Allen needs to be able to match some of Mahomes' playmaking ability. When you get paid what he gets paid, it's not just managing the game, it's being able to make plays against other great players. And let me show you what I mean from the AFC Championship game last year. In this example, Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, his 2 key receivers, are in the slot. And what Kansas City is going to do is they're going to take away both of them. They're going to double team each guy with the down cornerback and the safety and make sure that that's not an option. Take that out of his read. Then they're going to use Frank Clark, and